Okay, here we want to graph this conic section. I see that I have x squared and x, y squared and y, 13. Well, I'll get the 13 over there and complete the square on the others. So, x squared plus 10x, leave a little space, plus 4y squared minus 8y, leave a little space here, and equals, move the 13 over, so minus 13. Probably should have left a little bit of a space right there as well. Put the plus sign there, because it looks like I got to factor out something. Alright, then we complete the square. This one's fairly easy. We just take half of the 10, square it, add it here, and over there. So that's 5 squared is 25. That's completing the square there, and then add a 25. Now this one's a little tricky. You got to have a 1 there to complete the square, so factor out that 4. So really it should be a 4 on the outside of this. So let's do it 4y squared minus 2y, like that. Okay, so I took the 4 out, and then now let's take half of this negative 2, like this, and square it, and add it here and over here. I got to be careful when I do this. Negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1, squared is 1. So, now look, I'm adding 1 inside of here, right? But really, am I adding 1 to the left-hand side? No, because there's a 4 out, and the 4 actually gets distributed back in, right? 4 times whatever's in the parenthesis. So, I really got to add 4 inside, so really add 4 over here. So I go plus 4. So now I've added the same amount, 25 here and 4 here, right? So we aren't using this anymore. Okay, so let's maybe write this up here. Y squared minus 2y plus 1. Okay. Alright, so we have it this far now. Now what we did there is pick values so we can complete the square, which means factor. X plus half of this guy, 5 squared, and then the same thing, plus the 4, and it's y plus half of this guy, minus 1. Then we got to add these guys up here. 25 minus 13 is 12, plus 4 is 16. That's a good, nice number. Okay, almost done. Divide everything by 16. Alright, we have, let's put it down here so I'll be able to see it when I graph it, x plus 5 over 16 plus, they reduce, y minus 1 squared over, squared here as well, over 4 equals to 1. So what do I have? I have an ellipse because of the plus sign. That's how I know. Just a plus sign here. I have an ellipse. Now we go and start graphing it. Well, we need to find my A, my B, and my C, and then start graphing, right? The A value, A is always bigger on an ellipse, so A is always greater than B on ellipse only. So here this is A squared, so A is 4. Then B would be 2 because that's B squared. Now in an ellipse, it's A squared minus B squared equals to C squared, like that. Okay. So I have an A squared, which would be 16. B squared is 4 equals to C squared. So 16 minus 4 is 12. So C is plus or minus the square root of 12. Okay. Or 2 comes out of that, plus or minus 2 squared roots of 3, right? So those are the values to get your focus. Okay. So we've got these here. And now we need to start with the center. And what's the center at? I don't know where that line came from, but the center was at x plus 5 over 16 and y minus 1 over 4. So negative 5, positive 1. The center is negative 5, positive 1. So let's go to that. Negative 5, positive 1. There's the center. And now remember the A was under the x over here. So it being under the x tells me that that's the distance I'll go on the x-axis, and that's the major axis. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, put a dot from the center. 1, 2, 3, 4, put a dot from the center. Now I use my 2 from my B. 1, 2, that's the minor axis, 1, 2. So the minor axis is 4 units long, 8 units long for the major. Alright, let's put our, there we go, not the best, maybe I'll widen it out there. There we go, so that's our circle, or sorry, our ellipse. Now where's the focus? Well, 2 squared roots of 3. Well, let's find out what the square root of 3 is. Well, it looks like it's about 1.7. So square root of 3 is approximately 1.7, and then multiply that by 2. So we're looking at about 3.4. So 3.4 is my C value approximately. So that means from the center, if I go over 3.4, 1, 2, 3, and then about right there, and 1, 2, 3, and about right there, those are where my foci are. Okay, what are the exact answers for the foci? Well, you take your plus or minus 2 squared roots of 3 and you add it to your x value, right, of the center. So the x value of the center was negative 5. So if I were to write the foci, I would write, let me move down here maybe a little bit. I would go, my foci are negative 5 and then plus or minus 2 squared roots of 3 comma 1, because they're both, being up 1, right? They're both here up 1 and there up 1. If you want to write them separately, you write negative 5 plus 2 squared roots of 3, negative 5 minus 2 squared roots of 3. Okay, so there's the foci. I think you can get the vertices just by looking at where they are.